The Art of Strategy, a game theorist's guide to success in business and life, by Avinash K. Dixit and Dixit Nalebuff. This is a book summary. Picture this. You're sitting at a poker table. The room is thick with tension. The clinking of chips, the rustling of cards, it's all background noise now. You're locked in, staring at your opponent. You have a good hand, maybe even a great one. But here's the problem. So does he? Or at least, that's what he wants you to think. Do you fold? Do you raise? Do you call his bluff? Or is he calling yours? But what if I told you this isn't just poker? This is life. The same mental chess match you're playing right now is happening every day. In boardrooms, in negotiations, in diplomacy, even at your kitchen table when you convince your kid to eat their vegetables. Because life is a game, and every game has a strategy. Welcome to the world of strategic thinking. Think about it. Every day, whether you realize it or not, you're making strategic decisions. Nations go to war. Businesses fight for market dominance. Politicians battle for votes. And even parents negotiate with their kids over bedtime. You might think, oh, I don't need strategy. I just go with the flow. But guess what? That's a strategy too. A bad one. Because if you're not thinking ahead, someone else is. That's why game theory isn't just for economists or chess masters. It's for you. It's a secret weapon that can help you win in business, in relationships, and in life. And The Art of Strategy by Avinash Dixit and Dixit Nalebuff is your guide to unlocking this hidden power. A book that breaks down the logic behind decision-making and teaches you how to outthink, outmaneuver, and outplay the competition. Whether that competition is a rival CEO, a tough negotiator, or just a guy trying to cut you off in traffic. What is strategic thinking? Let's get one thing straight. Strategic thinking isn't just about making a move. It's about seeing the entire game before you even touch the board. It's about predicting the other player's moves before they make them. Think of a master chess player. They don't just see their next move. They see 5 moves ahead. They see the traps, the counterattacks, the opportunities no one else notices. That's the difference between playing and winning. Strategic thinking is about stepping into your opponent's shoes, thinking like they think, anticipating their every move, and then staying 2 steps ahead. But don't just take my word for it. Let's test this theory with a simple game. The pick a number game. Can you outsmart me? Let's play a game. I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 100. Got a guess? Most people start with 50. It's the logical choice. It splits the range in half. But here's the catch. I say too high. Now you're adjusting. Maybe 25. Nope. Too low. So now you narrow it down. 37? 42? And finally, boom, you get it. But here's the real twist. I already knew you'd play this way. I knew you'd take the standard approach, cut the range in half each time. So instead of picking randomly, I chose a number that would force you to keep guessing while I just sat back and watched you struggle. Sounds unfair? Maybe, but this is exactly how strategy works in real life. People who plan ahead don't just play the game, they control it. Whether you're negotiating a salary, bidding in an auction, or closing a business deal, always think about how the other player is thinking. Because if you don't, they're already thinking about how to beat you. Strategic thinking in the real world. This is why game theory is so powerful. It's why companies succeed while others fail. Why some leaders rise while others fall. And why the best negotiators always walk away with the best deal. Take Richard Hatch, the winner of Survivor's first season. Everyone thought the final challenge was a test of endurance. But Hatch, he saw the real game. He realized that if he intentionally lost, his opponent would have no choice but to take him to the finals. He lost to win. Or think about Martin Luther, who stood before the Catholic Church and refused to recant his beliefs. He didn't beg. He didn't negotiate. He committed, completely and unequivocally. Here I stand, I can do no other. And that strategic move, it changed history. Strategy isn't about playing fair. It's about playing smart. So now that you know the basics of game theory, the question is, how are you going to use it? Negotiating a raise? Know what your boss wants, and make them need you. Competing in business? Mix up your strategy. Never let the competition predict your next move. Making a tough decision? Start at the end and work your way back. What's the outcome you really want? Winning in relationships? Know when to compete and when to cooperate. The world is full of games, But the best players, they don't just play, they strategize. And now so can you. Backward thinking, learning from Survivor. Ever watch Survivor? Contestants don't just battle the elements, they battle each other. It's a psychological war zone where alliances crumble, backstabs are routine, and only the most cunning make it to the end. Now, let me take you back to season 1 when a businessman named Richard Hatch walked onto the island and redefined the game. How? He didn't win by being the strongest, the fastest, or even the most liked. He won by out-strategizing everyone else. Hatch mastered a technique called backward thinking, a concept straight out of the art of strategy. He didn't just think about the next move, he thought backward from the end game, plotting every step before his rivals even saw it coming. Going into the final challenge, there were 3 contestants left. The natural instinct, win the challenge and secure your own fate. But Richard saw something others didn't. He realized that if he won, he'd have to choose his opponent for the final vote. That's a problem because choosing between allies risks bitter jury votes. So what did he do? He intentionally lost the final challenge, putting the decision in someone else's hands. His remaining competitor, Kelly Wigglesworth, won, and since she knew she had a better shot against Richard than against the more beloved Rudy Bosch, she chose to take Richard to the finals. And just like that, Hatch manipulated the game into handing him the win. The jury voted, and boom, Richard Hatch became the first ever Survivor millionaire. Sometimes, the smartest move isn't winning. It's losing on purpose to set up a bigger win down the road. Backward reasoning helps you see how today's decisions shape tomorrow's outcomes. Master this, and you won't just play the game, you'll control it. Bluffing, deception, and the power of commitment. In poker, the best players don't just have good hands. They don't need good hands. They control information. They bluff, they mislead, they make you doubt what's real. And once you start second-guessing, they've already won. But poker isn't the only place where deception and commitment play a role. A man stands before the most powerful religious authority in Europe. The Catholic Church demands he renounce his beliefs or face excommunication and possibly execution. The room is silent. The pressure is unbearable. But Martin Luther? He doesn't flinch. Here I stand, he declares, I can do no other. That wasn't just a speech. It was a strategic power move. Why? Because Luther committed completely. He took away his own ability to negotiate. There was no wiggle room, no compromise. And when someone is unshakable in their stance, the other side has 2 options. 1. Crush them entirely, which often backfires and creates a martyr. 2. Back down and adapt. The Catholic Church chose to fight, but Luther's unwavering commitment led to something far bigger than his own fate. The Protestant Reformation. Lesson: commitment can be a weapon. When you take an immovable stance, you force others to adjust to you. This applies in negotiations, leadership, and even personal relationships. But be careful, because if you commit too soon or to the wrong position, you might trap yourself. The prisoner's dilemma. Why cooperation is key. The prisoner's dilemma is one of the most famous and most frustrating problems in strategy. Why? Because it proves that even when cooperation is the best option for everyone involved, people still betray each other. The setup is this. 2 criminals are arrested and interrogated separately. They have 2 choices. If both stay silent, they serve light sentences. If one confesses while the other stays quiet, the snitch walks free while the other rots in jail. If both confess, they both get heavy sentences. Sounds simple, right? The smart move is for both to stay silent. But here's the problem. Each person fears that the other will betray them first. So what happens? They both confess. Why does this matter? Because this exact dilemma plays out in the real world every single day. Companies decide whether to compete aggressively or form secret price-fixing agreements. Political parties decide whether to work together or sabotage each other. Nations decide whether to reduce their nuclear weapons or keep building them because what if the other country cheats? Sometimes, competition is worse than cooperation. But cooperation only works when you build trust and make your commitment believable. Otherwise, expect betrayal. Mixing up your moves, the power of being unpredictable. Have you ever played rock, paper, scissors? It seems random, right? But game theory shows that most people are predictable. If someone plays rock twice, they're likely to switch to paper next. And here's where the real strategists win. They exploit predictability. Why does this matter? Because predictability is dangerous in business, politics, and even sports. If your competitor knows your moves in advance, they can counter every single one of them. Think about it. In football, if the defense knows you're always running the ball on third down, they'll stop you every time. In war, if the enemy knows exactly when and where you'll attack, you've already lost. In negotiations, if your opponent knows you never bluff, they'll never take your threat seriously. Lesson: the best players, whether in sports, business, or life, keep their opponents guessing. If people can predict you, they can control you. But if you mix up your strategies, you control them. Alright, now that you've got the basics of game theory, let's talk about how you can start using these strategies right now. Whether you're in the boardroom, on the field, in a relationship, or just trying to navigate everyday decisions, strategic thinking gives you the edge over everyone else. Negotiating a raise? Think like a survivor. Most people walk into a salary negotiation thinking, I deserve this raise, so I'll just ask for it. Wrong move. Your boss doesn't care what you want, they care about what they need. This is where the art of strategy comes in. Richard Hatch won Survivor by not focusing on his needs, but by thinking about what his competitors needed, and then making himself indispensable. The move? Before you ask for a raise, make yourself a player they can't afford to lose. Build leverage. Solve problems before they even see them coming. Make them need you more than you need them. In negotiations, don't beg, don't demand. Instead, create a situation where saying no to you would be their biggest mistake. Competing in business? Never be predictable. Business is just a giant strategy game. Companies rise and fall based on who adapts faster, who innovates smarter, and who keeps their competitors guessing. One of the biggest mistakes businesses make: being predictable. Think rock, paper, scissors. In the art of strategy, Dixit and Nalebuff explain that people tend to fall into patterns, even when they think they're being random. If you always react the same way, your competition will exploit you. Netflix disrupted Blockbuster by offering subscriptions instead of late fees. Tesla broke the auto industry's model by selling direct to consumers. Amazon reinvented retail by anticipating what customers wanted before they even searched for it. If your competitors always know your next move, you're playing to lose. Keep them on their toes, because unpredictability is its own kind of power. You ever get stuck on a tough decision? Feel like there are too many choices and you don't know which one is best? Game theory has the answer. Think like a chess grandmaster. The art of strategy teaches us that the best players don't just plan their next move, they plan backward from the goal they want to achieve. Example: say you're choosing between two job offers. Instead of asking, which job should I take? Ask, where do I want to be in 5 years? Then work backward. Which job actually gets you there? If you're playing a sport, don't just think about the next pass, think about the end game. If you're launching a business, don't just look at immediate profits, plan for long-term market control. If you're negotiating, don't just focus on the deal, anticipate what happens after the deal is made. The smartest move isn't always forward. Sometimes, the smartest move is starting at the end and working your way back. Building a relationship? Know when to compete and when to cooperate. Whether it's dating, friendships, or business partnerships, relationships are strategy games too. And guess what? Sometimes, cooperation is more powerful than competition. Think about the prisoner's dilemma. If you always try to win in a relationship, you actually lose because long-term trust disappears. Example: in business, competing aggressively can drive profits, but collaborating can build monopolies. In politics, attacking your opponent works until you need their support for a bigger deal. In dating, playing hard to get is a strategy, but at some point, you have to show commitment. Sometimes, the real power move isn't crushing your opponent. It's finding a way where both sides win. So now you've got the playbook. You know how game theory applies to everything from negotiations to sports to love. The only question is, how are you going to use it? Will you think ahead and outmaneuver your competition? Will Will you stay unpredictable so no one can exploit your patterns? Will you work backward from your goals to make every move count? Will you learn when to fight and when to cooperate? Tell me in the comments what's your best strategic move. Have you ever bluffed to win? Have you lost on purpose to gain an advantage? Have you used game theory without even realizing it? And if you want more game-changing strategies, smash that like button and subscribe, because in life, there are two kinds of people: those who play the game, those who master it. Which one are you?